So what we're going to do is we're going to come to our final segment, and it is, of course, as ever,
Random Stats.
Random Stats. So, Jake, would you like to give us your random stat?
Yeah, people probably realizing that we've missed one of the trades from this week, and that is for reason. My random stats is that Brandin Cooks ties Eric Dixon for the all-time NFL trade record. And again, I would put an asterisk next to it, and I'll tell you why later on. But he's been traded 4 times. He was traded from the Saints to the Patriots in 2017 for a first-round pick that turned into Ryan Ramczyk, a fantastic offensive lineman.
Yes.
And a third-round pick, which was Trey Hendrickson, a fantastic defensive lineman. So the Saints that was the 2017 draft from the Saints, which was an all-timer, in my opinion, if you look at it. Only a year later, the Patriots then traded him to the Rams. They got a first-round back. That was Isaiah Wynn, who we just mentioned is still a free agent. And a 6th-round Keon Crossan. Sadly, not living up to the names as the 3 before him. Then he was traded again this is number 3 now, in 2020. So he stuck with the Rams for 2 years. Traded to the Texans for a 2nd-round pick that turned into Van Jefferson, a very good player for the Rams. And then 2023, just this week, traded from the Texans to the Cowboys for a 5th-round pick and a 6th-round pick. So we don't know who they are as of yet, but if you're the Texans, you got a pretty good feeling that one of them's going to turn out okay, judging off Brandin Cooks' recent history in terms of players he's been involved in.
It's like we need someone in the draft. Sign Brandin Cooks.
Yeah, we need a late round pick
and then trade him.
Trade Cooks away. We're bound to hit. But the reason I say it's an asterisk next to the 4 times, I'd argue he's been traded 5 times. In the 2014 draft, the Saints traded the number 27th pick and the number 91 pick, which was a 3rd rounder, to the Cardinals for the number 20 pick, which turned into Brandin Cooks. And for those interested, the Cardinals picked Deion Buchanan, a safety, at 27, and John Smokey Brown in the 3rd round with the 91st pick.
Wow.
So some interesting players and some interesting names that have been intertwined with Brandin Cooks and his trade debacles.
And Brandin Cooks is a good player.
Very good player.
It's not like because I know I mentioned this before. When you said he was the tied for the most trades, I was thinking surely Josh Johnson. He's played for 29 teams or something like that. But he's not been traded for all those teams. He's been released by team and signed by another team, released by them, but Cooks has held his value, and teams keep wanting him and trading picks for him. So that's pretty good. It's a pretty good value for Cooks there.
Yeah, I mean the Cowboys, in a weird way, they obviously traded away Amari Cooper for a bag of chips, and everyone was very confused why they did that. Now they're trading for Brandin Cooks and giving away very little. The Texans are even paying about 1/3 of the contract. I think they're paying $6 million. So Brandin Cooks now playing with CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup. It's great for the Cowboys.
It is.
The Texans get some value. They get rid of a big contract. Not they had 3 years. 3 years out of Brandin Cooks is pretty impressive. I mean, Saints got 3, the Patriots got 1, but they pretty much got all their trade value back. Rams got 2 years and a 2nd, so he's stuck around in some places. But like I say, he's always held his value. He always seems to get 1,000 yards receiving, no matter who his quarterback is. He always manages to provide, and I don't expect him to not provide this year. I think Dak Prescott will be quite happy to have another wide receiver.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? That's a good stat. I like that. Brandin Cooks. So he was a Saint, and then he was a Ram, and then he was
Saints, then Patriots.
Sorry, Saints, Patriots, Rams, Texans, Cowboys.
So yeah, he was in the Saints in their Super Bowl kind of run or Super Bowl kind of window. Went to the Patriots, who obviously were always interested in Super Bowls at that time. Went to the Rams, who were interested in Super Bowls, and then kind of went to the Texans. That's when he kind of gave up, I think. But now he's going to the Cowboys, so he's hoping maybe, especially in the NFC, that he could be back interested. It'd be impressive if, I don't know if he does have a ring. Maybe he does with the Patriots, but he might be very unfortunate not to have a ring with the teams he's been on.
That's true enough. It's just when you said he was sick of winning teams going to the Texans and then going to the Cowboys, I was like, well, yes, I suppose.
I mean, have you seen the state of the NFC?
I have. I don't think there's much chance of a Lombardi coming to the NFC anytime soon. The Eagles are a very good team. They're a very good team. Give them that. Okay, so my random stat also concerns wide receivers. And I'm going to start it with a question for you, Jake.
Okay.
Which I know you're going to know the answer to, but I'm going to ask the question anyway.
Yes, I'll certainly know it.
You will know it. Do you know the name of the person who has the most catches in an NFL season? Who holds the record for the most receptions in an NFL season? Who do you think?
Most catches in an NFL season? It was Michael Thomas. Is it not now Cooper Kupp?
No, it's still Michael Thomas.
Michael Thomas.
Cooper Kupp had more because of the postseason as well. In the course. But in the course of a season, in 2019, Michael Thomas had 149 receptions, which broke the record, which I believe at the time was held by Marvin Harrison, who had 143. I think I was going to double check that actually. Yeah, he had 143. So in 2019, Michael Thomas had 149 catches. In 2021, Cooper Kupp had 145. In 2022, Justin Jefferson led the league with 128 catches. So it got me thinking. When's the last time somebody led the league in receptions and didn't crack 100? Now, don't worry, I'm not asking you that question. This is going to be my random stat. Because you're like, oh, I know that one. It was 1998. And it was a person by the name of O.J. McDuffie who played for the Miami Dolphins. And he had 90 receptions. And that led the league. And he was the first player and since the only player to lead the league under 100 receptions since 1989 when Sterling Sharp had 90 as well. So 1998 was the year of the 15-1 Minnesota Vikings. That was Randy Moss and Chris Carter seemingly catching 500 passes each. You also had the Denver Broncos with Rod Smith and Christian McCaffrey. His dad, Ed McCaffrey, and Shannon Sharp seemingly catches 20 balls a game. But the person who led the league was O.J. McDuffie of the Miami Dolphins, 90 receptions in 1998, and that is the last time a person has led the league in receptions and not cracked 100, and that is my random stat.
One that will probably... in fact, I will guarantee a random stat that won't be broken because there's extra games now and everybody's throwing for 5,000 yards. There's not a chance that nobody doesn't crack 100 receptions. All the wide receivers will be throwing their handbags out if they don't get 100 receptions.
Of course they would. Now, we actually have a bonus random stat because Dave sent me a random stat.
He mailed it in.
Yeah, he did. He literally says, "Can you, do you want a bonus random stat?" And I love random stats, so I was like, "Of course." And particularly when it involves my team, it also involves Dave's team. So I see why he did that. He suckered me in. He suckered me in, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I've got to do this one." So this player concerned in this random stat is a punter, drafted in the 7th round. 228th overall of 2016. to the Denver Broncos to replace Britton Colquitt, who was the punter for the Broncos at the time. In December 2016, he threw a 16-yard pass to Cody Latimer on a fake punt, becoming only the second punter in Broncos history to complete a pass. The last one was Chris Normal, who threw a 43-yard touchdown in 1986 against the Chiefs. I can't believe Dave actually researched this much. He must have done. Anyway, this also gave him a quarterback rating of 118.8. He was named an All-Pro rookie, the first Bronco to be named an All-Pro rookie since Chris Harris Jr. and Von Miller in 2011. He punted 89 times for a 41.3 net average, which was the highest by a rookie in NFL history. And last season with the Rams, he averaged a career-high 48.4 yards per punt, had a quarterback record of 2 out of 2 for 18 yards, giving him a rating of 104.2. In his 7 years in the league, he's been the highest rated quarterback, 2 of them. And his name is Riley Dixon, who has just been traded again from the Rams back to the Denver Broncos. And I, for one, could not be happier that we are getting Riley Dixon back, because the Broncos special teams over the past few years has been appalling. And God love the punters, but Broncos always had punters who were incapable of punting more than 40 yards at Mile High Stadium, while every opponent was banging them 65 yards, and I could never, ever understand it. But we've got Riley Dixon back, so I, for one, am delighted. That is Dave's random stat. Basically the entire career of Riley Dixon, so it's pretty good.
I mean, yeah, like I say, it was fantastic for the Broncos. Traded to the Giants was fantastic for them. Went to the Rams, and now back home with Denver. And you'd think, like you say, Mile High, you think it would work to punters' advantage. Seemingly not always, but Riley Dixon will hopefully restore some honor to the special teams of the Denver Broncos.
It always works for the punter's advantage for the opponents. I never understand. They're able to bang 70-yard punts, but for some reason the Broncos punters can't, and I'm like, what's wrong with you? Why can you not punt at Mile High? Even I could probably kick one, 10 yards.
If you get a good bounce, you never know.
Maybe 15 if I get a good bounce. Yeah.
Questions have got to be asked of Riley Dixon with that quarterback rating. Why didn't he go to the 49ers? They could have rolled him out. You know, if Sam Darnold went down, Riley Dixon could have been the answer.
It could have been. And then you've got someone who, like, you've got a good punter, a solid punter, and a quarterback. I mean, that's saving tons of cash. Loads of cash. And a roster spot. Saves a roster.
I mean, they always say, you know, after we saw Justin Reed take kickoffs for the Chiefs, why not, you know, why have kickers? You know, let safeties or whoever do the kickoffs for you. Why have quarterbacks? Let the punters do it for you.
Yeah, because I mean, if you've got safeties and defensive backs kicking off, you've got an extra cover man that you didn't have before. That's what you want. It makes perfect sense. Teach your safeties to do kickoffs. They don't need to kick field goals, just kickoffs. That's it. Perfect.